Good morning. Uh, Today we want to look at Lesson 13 of Christ in Revelation. The title is appropriately the New Jerusalem. Our key verse is taken from Revelation chapter 21, verse 2. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. So we have in this last two chapters of the book of Revelation the summation of all history. We find that the fulfilling of all of the Old Testament prophets, the prophecy of Jesus in Matthew chapter 24. We find that in chapter 21, verse 1, that the earth and heavens are fled away. There's no more seas. All things have passed away, the earth and heaven. As if we look back to Isaiah chapter 34, the prophet says there that the earth and the heaven will be rolled up as a scroll. And so all things will become new. The resurrected church in the new city, whose garments are clean and white, and the city is adorned for them as a bride waiting for her husband. And as we Christians know, that bride is the church, and the bridegroom is Christ. As I said, this is a summation of all history. If we think of all the people, all the millennium, all the centuries that have gone by, they all come to this one point where all the things of good and evil are now at the point. The evil will end, and only good will go forward from this point. For the good, who are the chosen of God, will be removed from the memory, death, and weeping, and the memory of sorrow. And I believe that at that time, that the saints will have seen the white throne of judgment, which, as we know, is the judgment of the wicked. And all those people who have lived and died, who have not given their surrender to Christ, who have not accepted Him as the Lord of Lords and the King of Kings of all things. Those people in their death waiting to be resurrected. We see in this vision of John, we see the vision of his church, and we also see, as I said, the vision of the throne, the white throne, where Christ will judge. Because Jesus said that all justice is given to me by the Father, and He will judge. So, we see these two groups in a contrast. The believers who have been overcomers. If you remember back in all of the 7 churches, Jesus said to the one who has an ear to hear, let him hear. And to those who overcome, He said He would give us these things. He would give us life forever. And now He's saying, come, even as He was saying then, come. From then He will give life to eat from the tree of life and to drink from the fountain of the water of life. Doesn't it sound marvelous? The tree of life that was taken from Eden. Adam and Eve could not eat of that tree. They were pushed out of paradise. But yet now we see that tree returned in the midst of God. And God has claimed them, Christians, His children, His bride, as joint heirs. To those who have rejected his Son, he gives them the drink of death. To those who stand before that great white throne for judgment, at that time the book of life is open, and he says that those names that are not found there are cast into utter darkness. Jesus said there would be weeping and gnashing of teeth, where the worm dieth not and the fire is not quenched. That is a terrible thing to think of. Even the people that have done you wrong of any sort, all the worst things that man can do, when we think about that juxtaposed to torment forever in a fire that's never ceasing, that's a hard thing to think, a hard thing for me to think about. But it will be at that day. So the books are open, as I said, and if their names are not written, they're not going to that eternal city. And so why? Because many of these men would say, have we not done great things for you? Have we not healed the sick? Have we not preached? Have we not done these things? But as we're told in Galatians, we're saved by faith, through faith, and not of works, lest any man boast. And these people will have works. Many will have fine works to present to God, but works are not accepted. Works are the law. And if salvation could come through works, then many would be there, but they're not. Jesus said that he'll come suddenly. And as he began all things, accordingly he will end all things. The natural world will perish and the things thereof. I'd like to read at this time from 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 10. But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with a fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. Verse 11. Seeing then that these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness? So, we're saved by grace through faith. God has prepared a place. Jesus said, if I go away, I'll prepare a place for you. And then we read in these 2 chapters in Revelation of that place. We're given a description of the city. It's such a wonderful sounding thing. My mind can't grasp what it really says. But the thing to remember, I think, is the city is adorned as a bride is for her husband. So I know it's going to be a special day that I'm looking forward to. No sickness, no death, no sorrow. God said he will literally wipe the tears away. He'll take the sorrow, take the heartache. All those things will be gone. And things will be new. He said all things will be new. And there will live forever in that city that's come down from the heaven. Now, it's an interesting thing, just as a side note to me, I have read a lot of, well, I won't say a lot, but several think that the New Jerusalem will not actually be an actual part of the new earth, but it will be above the earth, and that some may go back and forth. Interesting. I don't know if that's true, but that's an interesting thought. So anyway, I would like to, this has been a short lesson, but these are 2 short chapters. And I would say the main thing for you, for me, is to make sure. Paul said to examine ourselves to see if we be in the faith. And we need to look to ourselves, trusting God, in believing, asking Him. He says, if we look to Him, He'll provide those things that we need. So, until I see you again, I'll say, God bless you and keep you, and may you be healthy and happy. In Jesus' name.